It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and my guest today is someone who is very near and dear to my heart. She's like a little sister to me. I've known her since she was 14 years old. Her name is Tara Watts, and while I always love to talk to her, I really wish it wasn't about breast cancer. But last year, at the age of 36, she was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer, and she's been in the fight of her life ever since. She's also been pretty public about her cancer journey on her social media. Many of you know her as Tara Linda, and she is a wonderful wife and an incredible mom of 5 and a teacher. So thanks so much, Tara, for agreeing to talk to me today and for being so brave and courageous and outspoken about your breast cancer journey. You're helping so many people.
Thank you so much for inviting me on your podcast. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you. Well, this just proves how breast cancer hits so close to home. Me diagnosed 7 years ago, you diagnosed last year, crazy. And statistics say 1 in 8 women are diagnosed with breast cancer, but it's pretty rare for women your age. Screenings aren't even recommended until age 40. So talk to me about the day you received the news that you had breast cancer, and how did you even find out?
I just finished nursing my daughter, my youngest. She's 2, going on 3. I nursed her for almost 2 years. She's the longest I've gone nursing. And one evening, it was pretty late. It was like 11 o'clock at night. I was about to go to bed. And I just randomly checked to see if the milk had dried up, because I just finished weaning her. I'm like, okay, is it gone? Sometimes there's a little left over. I was just curious.
Yeah.
And I felt a pretty large lump. It was hard. It was not like anything I've ever felt before. And immediately I got that feeling in my chest, like that ice cold feeling. I'm like, wait, what is this? Of course, and then my age, being only 36, nursing, breastfeeding for a pretty extensive amount of time.
All your kids, right?
All of them. And, I'm not a smoker, never been a smoker, not a terrible eater. So none of those reasons apply to me. So I'm like, okay, right. I'm okay. You just make an appointment with my OB/GYN.
Right.
I did that. I met with her the week before Christmas. She checked, she felt it. She said it's movable. There's no other signs. I'm sure she took into account my age. She didn't say, but she said it's probably fibroadenoma, which is a benign tumor.
Right. And did you have any history?
No history. None.
Yeah.
So March rolls around. So that all happened in December. Late November, I noticed it. December, I saw the doctor. March rolls around and another lump pops up underneath. So I had one on top, one underneath. Another one popped up out of nowhere, like huge.
Wow.
And then I started feeling some pain. So I'm like, okay, this is like, a sign, go get it checked out.
Yeah.
So I made the ultrasound and I started getting nervous again. Appointment day comes, the ultrasound comes. I had the mammogram, the ultrasound tech. She comes out and she says, you need to call your surgeon. Pretty urgent, she wasn't really excited. She goes, yeah. She's like, you need to call your surgeon, speak to your surgeon. I was like, well, what's going on? She's like, I don't know. Just, call your surgeon. So I left panicked. A couple hours later, I get a call from my doctor's office. Barely slept that night. The next day I go in and that's where she just gave me the news. She just said that the size of what they found, what it looks like, and there's a very high chance that this is breast cancer. So I'm just like, okay. I have my mask on. I can't, the tears started. Yeah. Whatever. Chris is with me. He's like, he looks at me, give each other a look. And then, he, puts his arm around me while she tells the news, gives us the news. And yeah, so it's a stage category 5 tumor.
Well, what's going through your mind? Like as a mom of 5, Maya was 4, Gigi was 12.
Yeah.
Bryce is away at college. What's going through your mind at that time when you hear those words, you have breast cancer?
At that time, I'm just, all the thoughts go through your head, how am I going to get through this? Am I going to get through this? You think about the future, our kids being so young, they need me, so I did, initially when she said that the chances, how high the chances were, I all those things went through my head. I'm like, my kids, what about my kids? What about my kids?
Yeah.
That the initial shock of that's what goes through your mind. But, I knew that I was going to be fine. God was going to see me through this. He is going to heal me. He has the final say.
That's right.
And that's what sustained me even through the whole waiting process. April 29th is when after the biopsy, he called and said, yes, it's malignant, go see your surgeon. So when that day, when that hit, that was when I officially broke down. I was like, oh my gosh, it's real, So, you just go through all the motions over and over again though. You go through the motions, you're upset, you have your moment, I get myself back together again, I had to go to work still, I had to save as many days as I could because I knew I was going to be out. So I had to pull myself together. I went through those emotions. I allowed myself to have those moments, but then I had to, still put myself together to be strong. I couldn't be an emotional mess for the kids because we didn't tell them anything until we had a plan.
That was my next question. And I years ago, I did an article in the Huff Post on how to tell your kids you have cancer. And my kids were 13, 16, and 20 at the time. But when you have young kids, break that down. How did you tell the kids?
Chris took the lead on that. Once we had a plan, once we knew how it was going to be treated, the week of me getting my chemotherapy, after I met with the oncologist, I knew exactly what was going to happen. We told her that day. So we told Gianna first.
What did you say to her?
She knew about breast cancer. She knows what cancer is, obviously. And, she would Google. So we just told her straight out, gingerly, and, said, this is what's happening, but, she's going to see the best doctors. I am at Sloan Kettering. We have a plan that's treatable. And when mommy starts to, my parents starts to change, I start feeling sick. It's the medicine that's killing the cancer, not necessarily the cancer. So it's kind of like when we decide to tell them that way, that it's not necessarily the cancer that's making mommy feel sick. It's the medicine working really hard to, get rid of the cancer.
Yeah.
That perspective really helped.
That was smart. Yeah.
Cameron, he was like, okay. He kind of went around his day because, again, he was confident in us. I guess our approach and that we were so confident, he was okay. He wasn't upset.
That makes all the difference. Yeah.
Yeah. And she was definitely more sensitive. She's more sensitive than Cam, Again, if we're strong, they're strong. That's helped.
That's so true. And that's something I wanted to ask you about too. You go through so many emotions while you're going through this. How much, this has kind of been a debated topic. How much emotion do you let your kids see?
That's a really good question because I didn't want them to be affected by this much at all. I didn't want their childhood, especially
traumatized, right?
To be tainted,
Yeah.
Childhood be tainted by this. Like this time that mommy went through cancer, it was tough. It was
traumatic.
Yeah, I didn't want that for them. I was really worried about that. The only emotion they saw me express was actually when I cut my hair. That was like a family thing. That was the first time I think they've ever seen me cry ever.
Yeah.
So I've always hid my emotions from them. So even with this, they haven't seen me go through those tough periods. And that I personally, for me, the way I'm going through this, I don't want them to see. I don't want them to see that. I just expressed it privately to Chris, and they've been fine. We try to keep things as normal as possible. So as far as the emotional part, for me, I try to shield them from that. I don't want them to see me.
I felt that way too. I didn't think it was healthy for them. They don't need that. It's too much for them, Let's talk about that a little bit too, because I personally have mom guilt even when I'm not sick. Do you find that you have that mom guilt from not being able to go to certain activities? And do you?
Yes, this summer was not like any summer. And every summer I'm active with them. We're at the pool every day. We went to the beach. Right. Honestly, it was just too much. The walking around with the toddler, I didn't have the energy. So I did feel the guilt from that because the girls, especially the two little ones, love the pool. They're still okay, so if they're okay, I'm okay.
So this next question is a hard one, but I think it's a question that people will want to know. Even though there are so many advancements in cancer treatment and survival rate, in reality, despite that, most of the time, when younger women under 40, like yourself, get diagnosed, it's an aggressive form. And so the numbers are still there where women are still dying of breast cancer. In smaller numbers, but they're still dying. Do you ever allow yourself to think about the possibility of dying?
No, I don't. I in the beginning I did, but now, no. I mean, I don't know why God allowed this to happen. Bits and pieces. I mean, I see the effect that it's had me sharing publicly, how it's had.
Mhm.
So many women reached out to me. So many women have gotten mammograms. So many women say, when I just need a little strength, I go to your page. I mean, I get DMs all the time. I feel like that's just a small part of it. I feel like there is a bigger picture as to why God allowed this to happen. I don't know what it is yet. I don't know what the plan is, but I know this isn't the end. I know there's more. I know I'm going to live to see my grandchildren, my kids grow up. Like I've claimed that. So initially when this first started, and that initial fear, when I had that fear, absolutely I thought about it, but I have not gone down that road since. Honestly, I haven't. Especially, I was diagnosed with an aggressive form with the HER2 component, and that's, my surgeon told me right away. She said, it does have the HER2 factor, which makes it aggressive, which is why the second one popped up, which is why it's in my lymph nodes. It went into my sternum already. Why I have to have aggressive chemo, aggressive radiation.
And then you've scheduled your breast surgery.
Yes, that's October 20th. So.
Whoa. I didn't know it was so quick, coming up so soon.
Yeah. So
how are you feeling about that?
Yeah, there's so many things, it was so far away at one point and now it's like right here. So I did start to feel a little anxious about it recently, just reading up on how, what a life-changing surgery it is, and, the follow-up care, and how I'm going to be feeling after, and, how I'm going to look after. I feel like that's another bridge that I'm going to cross that is going to be traumatic. I am going to get a double mastectomy because, I don't have to worry about this. Yeah, I think about the moment after surgery when I first see them. I don't know how I'm going to react, but I'll just let myself feel what I'm going to feel, and I know I'll get through that as well.
Right. I mean, time. as crass as this may sound, they're only boobs.
Yeah,
that's how I rationalize in my head. They're just boobs.
Yeah. And like you told me, you said they've been used for what they were meant to be, and I nursed my kids, and now they're not causing me anything but harm. So that's the way to look at it.
Exactly.
I still have my life. So.
Yep. Well, you mentioned Chris, and you were so blessed to have such a wonderful support system.
Oh my gosh.
Village.
Amazing.
Chris is amazing. And, I want to bring Chris on because, we rarely hear from the husbands or spouse who's, the primary caregiver for most women. And hi, Chris. We don't talk about it enough. What it's like for the spouse. So hi, Chris. Thanks so much for coming on and agreeing to talk about this. I know it's, been a whirlwind for you, but you are amazing. But I just wanted to talk to you about, what it's been like for you. Tara's the love of your life. What has it been like for you as her husband, watching her go through this horrific experience?
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for everything that you've done. You've been very instrumental in this whole process. Very. So thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
I love you guys.
All right. So wait, what was your question again?
What has it been like for you as her husband? Watching the love of your life go through this horrific experience.
I've seen a different side of Tara. It's the strength that she has given the family. She has injected so much power into our family, and she has done nothing but just made everybody stronger. And man, we are really proud of her, and we just love her, man. That she has given everybody, and just not just our family, but just other people, around the country.
People, the world. Yeah.
She has empowered, and I was sitting here listening, like she was saying, I don't know, I know there's a purpose, for this. The purpose is she's empowering people, daily. People are constantly, inboxing and commenting how, she's, giving them strength. And so that's what her purpose is. And I could feel it. You know, she has made me a better person just by, you know, waking up every morning and just she
Oh,
is just as strong as when before she was diagnosed. She's even
wow.
stronger now.
Wow. Well, speaking of strength, you are the man in the family, and traditionally men are supposed to be the strong ones. Um, and you have, but talk to me about that day when you did find out, when the doctor called you in the office and you heard that news. Like,
Well, you
what was
know,
on your mind?
yeah, that was the point. You know, that was it got real hot. My face got hot. You know, when I was sitting there on FaceTime and she told me to come in, I was like, whew, it was heavy. You know, because I knew
You just
something.
knew.
You knew something. It wasn't right. You
Yeah.
know that feeling when it was just a feeling that I just can't explain. It was like, my heart, everything was just crashing. I felt it was a very heavy moment at that time. And before I went in there, I asked for God to give me that peace that surpasses all understanding.
Mhm.
And I felt a sense of calm. And so I went in there, and you know, she delivered the message, the news, and we just looked at each other, and we just knew at that moment that it was going to be a journey at that point.
Hmm.
And so, you know,
Yeah,
yeah,
that was his perspective. He's like,
that
it's gonna be a
it's going
journey,
to be a
but we're gonna
journey.
get through it.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was it. I mean, we're going to have to do it together, and we're going to
we have
get
to
through
do.
it. That's all
Yeah.
there is. That there's no looking back. There's not going to be wavering or anything like that. It's a partnership. We're together, and we're going to get through it.
I
And you're
love
gonna be
it. I
fine.
love
Yeah,
That's what he
she's gonna
always
be.
says.
Yeah, it's gonna be fine.
But he doesn't say that unless he knows for sure.
Yeah,
it. Yeah, yeah. Well, you guys, and it is one day at a time. It's a journey,
yeah,
and you guys share a really intimate part of this whole thing when you guys agreed for you to shave Tara's head and post that on social media. That was major. What was that like for you, Chris? I mean, because Tara's, known for her
yeah,
amazing mane of hair.
yeah.
Mhm.
What was that like?
That was hard because I know that's a big part of her life. And I mean any like female, cutting their hair off is like, whew. Even the Bible speaks about how your hair is the glory of God. And it's just that you sit there and take it. It's like, whew. You know. So
Do you have to
yeah,
prepare yourself for that?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was a strong. Oh man,
Yeah. It was like spur of the moment. We're just like, okay, let's just do
you
it.
gotta
Let's
do it
just do it
because
now. And he was good. He was
and the
strong.
reason behind it is because I mean the reason behind it made a lot of sense. I didn't want to see Tara, have to go through watching her hair fall out and letting the cancer, I mean the chemo just like just eat at her and
Yeah,
just
yeah.
it'll be more disheartening and just like really like it would be suffering to see her watch it, like globs of hair like all over the couch and all that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. So
Mhm.
she wanted to take control of it, so
Take
she took
control,
control
right?
of it.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know, doing taking the steps that we took.
Yeah, that was the best
That
decision.
was the best decision. So we made it a family function and got
Yeah,
everybody
you
involved.
directed the whole thing.
Yeah, we got everybody involved
Had
and
Bryce on there, and
everybody was involved. So yeah,
Wow.
I will
I
take
was
it was
control of it.
yeah, it was a really special moment.
taking back that power one, but then
Yeah,
see yourself then is another different, whole different thing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like makes it really real.
I
Yeah, it
know,
does.
because that was my whole thing too about looking the part.
Hmm.
Like once you shave your head, like it's like okay, you look the part, like you have cancer, like this is like reality here.
Right, right. Chris, as the man, as the one who's watching your wife go through this, how do you deal with watching her do it? Like, do you talk to somebody about how you're feeling?
Yeah. Well, I personally don't talk to anybody, but I do. I'm constant prayer. That's my release point right there. Um, you know, I pray to God and I take all my anxiety, all my stress, all my anger, and I leave it on the altar. And that's why I just walk away from it and it serves the same purpose as, you know, going to a psychiatrist, you know, or going to a family friend, you know, but that's my psychiatrist, you know, and it gives me a huge sense of relief when I know I can give God my, you know, my problems, and I can leave it on his altar, and Christ will fight my battles.
Mm-hmm.
He'll fight anything that I have, whether it's anger, stress, you know, doubt, whatever it is, I put it on that altar, and I know that it's being spiritually fought on my behalf because Christ is my advocate. He's my, you know, he's that person that's going to advocate and fight on my behalf, even
Right.
when I don't even know that it's happening. Is being fought on behalf of this family. So that's the way I deal with it. You know, the
Yeah.
Bible says our weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but they're mighty through God in the pull down of our strongholds. So right now we're in a stronghold, and so that's how we are fighting this stronghold through a spiritual, you know, lens right
Yeah.
now at this moment.
He's always been the strong one in every whatever battle or any
Mm.
trial we've gone through, but this has been the most intense. This has been
Yeah.
the biggest trial we've ever in all of our 14 years,
Right.
and he's been definitely the strength for me
Yeah.
and the entire family. Like,
Wow, I see it. I mean, and it's clear that, you know, that gives Tara peace as well as the whole family. So there's definitely a trickle down effect. How about as a couple? You know, this can put stress on a relationship. I mean, you guys love each other to death, but this is something that's just completely crazy. How do you handle the stress as a couple, if at all?
Well, you know, I look forward to like our. It might sound crazy, but I look forward to our Monday morning trips out to the chemo.
I was just about to say, I was
It's
gonna
over,
say,
like it's
like
kind of over, like a little bit.
the Mondays that we went to Sloan,
Uh-huh.
like our time alone, that was actually like him sitting with me through every infusion. Like, I'm not gonna say we didn't enjoy while we were
Right. No, I know. Yeah.
we did enjoy the riding together, you know, the getting breakfast, and we enjoyed those times together.
Mhm.
I mean, it definitely brought us closer than ever before. We were ready, you know, but this has definitely strengthened us and brought us closer. It's funny that you should say that, because I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I miss our little Mondays.
Because this is the first Monday
Yeah, we haven't.
in 5, well, yeah, in 5 months that we haven't driven into the cancer center.
It was kind of like a dual date night.
Yeah.
As crazy as it may sound, I get it. I mean, that's time spent, quality
Yeah.
time.
Because even after the infusion, and now when he takes me for the immunotherapy, I'm not like groggy from the Benadryl, so we'll go to lunch after. You know, so it's been, that time has actually been really good for us.
Yeah, it is.
Do you find it hard now talking about planning for the future, or does it make you more motivated to talk about the future?
Motivated. I mean, we were just sitting here talking about how, you know, as soon as we come out of this, what our next vacation. We're sitting here literally planning our vacation when we get out of this.
It's exactly what you said. We're more motivated to talk about. We know
Yeah.
we're going to get through this, and there is an end point. It's not going to last forever. Everything,
Right.
This is temporary. It's a season. So
Yeah.
that's the only. I'm saying that because
That's the
only way to get through this is to think positive.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Because, and the only, you know, not to say we didn't go through, I didn't personally, he hasn't, like, he's always been positive. That's the route that he's taken. Like, we're going to get through this. You're going to be fine. I did have those feelings. Like, I was fearful at first. You know, I worried about the kids. Am I going to be here for my kids? I did go through those emotions.
Yeah.
Moving forward, the only way to really get through this whole process, because it is a journey and it's intense and it can take me down another road. You know, I could be depressed. I could have anxiety all the time. I could be, and that's not healthy. That's, you know,
Right.
not good for my healing. Like, I have to stay positive. It's like, I don't have a choice. You know, I don't think I would be doing this well if I didn't stay positive the way I have been. You know, Chris has been, you know, every concern that I have, you know, he gets me through it. Because that's just who he is. That's his nature. He's always been like that. So, you know.
Chris, what advice would you give to other men who are going through this with their wife? And I know you're still on the journey, but also if you I don't know if you've reflected at all, what do you think maybe is the biggest mistake men make going through this journey?
Being prideful, I would say. Don't be too prideful. Listen to other people, uh, take advice from other people. Whenever somebody's, offering help, take the help.
Mhm.
Prayer, um, whatever your faith is, you're going to need some type of psychologist. If you have a psychologist, you got to talk to somebody. Don't be too prideful not to talk to somebody. And then that's where the pride comes in. Some people are too prideful. Some men are too prideful to, oh, I can do this on my own. Well, if you're too prideful to talk to God, then you're in trouble. If you're too prideful to talk to a psychiatrist, you're in trouble. If you're too prideful to talk to your brother, your sister, your mother, then you're in trouble because it's gonna catch up to you. So the pride is the biggest
And
thing.
to go along with the pride too, like he took on the role of caregiver. Like we're already a team as it is. Yeah, but to go along with that pride point, that's has a lot to do with I feel like for men, being willing to just take on that role as caregivers.
Mhm. What advice would you give to other couples who are going through this? You already gave some great advice about using the chemo time as date night, which really works. But what other advice would you give to couples going through this?
The biggest thing, again, is communication. So it's always the center of every marriage. But if there's ever a time that you need to communicate, it is now. There are times where I feel anxious, where things pop into my head, where I worry, and I need someone to talk to. He's the main one. He's the first person that I go to. Have a concern, like I'm in the shower or something, and I'm thinking of something, and I call him and I said, like, babe, what about this? What are your thoughts on this? And he's always there with that positive perspective. He listens. There are times where they say it's true that men always wanted to solve problems and just looking for a solution, and he's still like that, but he does listen too. So that's like that's the biggest thing. Like if there's ever a time where the man needs to be available and there to encourage and just listen, it's definitely during this time. So that's my biggest thing.
Just communication.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that's
that's
huge.
That's important, like you said.
Because women, I need to talk about what I'm going through, and if I can't talk to him,
then he gets bottled up.
I can talk to my mom or my sister, but it's everything to be able to talk to him about it, because he's with me through the day to day. He sees everything. He's with me at every appointment. Like he's literally going through the journey with me from day one. So being able to talk to him is huge. The biggest thing.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you both for talking to me and sharing just such intimate details about this whole journey. I mean, you guys are really just such a wonderful example of what true love is, and true love in the face of adversity. I love you guys so much. So thank you so much. And Tara, you're going to be fine.